All right, infection control. And basically, have y'all ever read the stuff that it's in their file that we go over with them on that? Y'all ever looked at it in their handbook? So, I mean, we're supposed to educate them on infection control, basically, and y'all's role in this is if y'all are seeing signs and symptoms of some of that stuff, it's about preventing the spread of that stuff. That's why y'all need to know about it, so that y'all can educate them on what to do and what not to do. So the first thing that we talk about is AIDS and HIV. That is spread through semen. Hopefully we will not have the mixing of that around here between clients. That would definitely probably be an incident we would have to report in therapy. Vaginal fluids, there shouldn't be any of that around here either. And blood. Hopefully we won't have any of that either. So hopefully us spreading that around here would be pretty slim. But a person, you know, can become infected by having sex, sharing needles, which I guess would be a possibility around here. Probably the most likely out of all those scenarios. With somebody that already has it.
They might get cut around here.
Well, I guess that's possible too. But both people, I guess, would have to be cut and then swapping blood for that to happen. It says nobody's ever been infected through casual contact, handshaking, hugging, eating in restaurants, sharing water fountains or toilets, insect bites, or group situations. It's not a cold. So that's not something to worry about. So for our guys that are HIV positive, you will just basically want to be able, because you hear them talking about what they're doing and not doing, and it's your responsibility to kind of be like, isn't that kind of risky? It's your job to educate them on these things, because they don't read this stuff when I'm sure.
I read it to them.
They probably don't practice it or remember it. So your job to call them out if you hear it. Making sure they're using condoms, avoiding, drug and alcohol use, sharing needle type stuff, limiting sex partners, and knowing the potential among substance abusers. There's a number in here on their paperwork for a hotline for questions for that. Hepatitis C, that can range in severity from a mild illness lasting a few weeks to something that you carry around with you lifelong. There is no vaccine for hepatitis C. The best way to not get it is to obviously avoid the behaviors that can spread it, which includes IV drug use. Hep C is spread when blood from one person infected with it enters the body of someone not infected, almost kind of like AIDS and HIV. Most people today become infected by sharing needles, which our population is at high risk for. So again, it's your job to make sure if you're hearing them talking about stuff that puts them at risk to tell them. So who's at risk for it? Current IV drug users, past IV drug users, people that have received donated blood or organs, although that's not as common now as it used to be. Blood products, there's body piercing or tattoos done with non-sterile instruments. That's going to be one when the guys come back. Oh, look, I got a new tattoo from my cousin's buddy's friend's sister's wife's kid. How was it pretty sterile? You're at risk for Hep C. Here's what the symptoms of that are. So if you ever notice any of these, you just put yourself in a situation that probably wasn't really good for you. So if you notice this, go get checked out so that you're not spreading it farther. That's where your role in all of this is. Of course, if you have a known exposure, healthcare workers injured by needle sticks, children that are born to moms that have it, and those that share personal care items such as razors or toothbrushes, because those can come into contact with blood since it's transmitted by blood. So, it's not spread by sharing utensils, breastfeeding, hugging, kissing, holding hands, coughing, or sneezing. So, all right, tuberculosis is spread through the air from one person to another. That's when somebody coughs, speaks, laughs, sings, sneezes. Anybody near the person with TB can catch it. Signs or symptoms is coughing. Didn't you say you were sick?
Yes.
Coughing that lasts 3 or more weeks, coughing up blood, chest pain, or pain when breathing or coughing, weight loss, fatigue, fever, night sweats or chills, loss of appetite. So, you know, our population's high risk for that also, or we wouldn't be going over it. If you have diabetes, certain types of cancer, you know, you're at higher risk for that kind of stuff. You have to have a test to test for it, which again, I've avoided us having to have, you know, anymore. And if your test is positive, you're going to figure out a treatment plan. Alright, so all that making sense so far? Questions about any of that? So preventing infection, make sure the guys are washing their hands using soap or water, rubbing them for 15 seconds, and you know, not just, it's the fingers, between the fingers, underneath the fingernails. I mean, it's your whole hand, your palm, the back of your hand. Making sure they're practicing good hygiene. Making sure they wash their hands before they eat. Washing them after they go to the bathroom. Take out the trash. Visit somebody that's sick. I mean, I know y'all are not elementary school teachers, but in a way you are. Guys, did y'all all wash your hands? You know, whoever's serving dinner. Did y'all all wash your hands?
And there's soap in the bathroom. It's
Right.
in that shampoo bottle. It's a big thing of soap.
That probably doesn't run out near as quickly as it should. So y'all are allowed to say that, you know. If you see them coughing or sneezing and not covering like they're supposed to, y'all need to be calling them out on that. Y'all are supposed to be teaching them how to do that stuff, which is why I'm going over it with you. So make sure that, you know, they cover their mouth, usually preferably with their elbow and not their hand. If you see them coughing or sneezing into their hand, make them go wash their hands immediately. Go wash your hand. You just sneezed into your hand or coughed into your hand. Keep tissues handy. Have them use a tissue. Have them throw the tissue away. Don't just leave it laying on the coffee table. So making sure, like I said, how do we practice good hygiene, hand washing, taking daily showers or baths? And it's okay for you to say, have you had a shower today? You know, just take a bath, maybe you need to. Brushing their teeth. Like I said, I know y'all are not daycare workers, but your job is to reinforce these healthy behaviors to prevent infection. So, STDs, several types of those listed on here. You're hearing them talk about what they're doing on their passes. Are you being safe? Are you being protected? Again, I know you don't want to sort of have to be the buzzkill and not sound cool or whatever, but when you're on the clock, you're being paid to not sound cool. It just is what it is. It is your job to teach them how to be responsible to prevent all of this stuff. Multiple sex partners, multiple anonymous sex partners, sex under the influence. I mean, obviously to avoid STDs, you just don't have sex, period. But I'm sure very few of our folks are probably going to do that at this point. But just making sure that they know, keeping track of things, being aware, knowing what the signs and symptoms are for certain STDs, knowing that we can have them checked for that if they're curious.
And there's several that's taking us up on that offer as far as referring them to the health department.
So just making sure they know that option was there. Even if they said no when they first came in, we can still take them to have them